Welcome back to the Cognitive Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Clint Ray, high performance coach, speaker, and author of the Cognitive Athlete. Now, we're in week 7 of this 10-week training cycle. So far, we've stabilized pace, protected energy, rebuilt focus, aligned your day with your biology, and last week we started building cognitive capacity. Now we address something that almost everyone gets wrong. Stress. Most people think stress is the problem. Guess what? It isn't. Stress is the stimulus. What determines whether you grow or break is recovery, because performance systems, whether human or organizational, don't fail from pressure. They fail from unrecovered pressure. Today, we're going to unpack the reasons why. Let's dive into it. Let's start with something simple. Strength training. When an athlete lifts weights, what actually causes the muscle to grow? It isn't the lift itself. The lift creates micro damage in the muscle fibers. That damage signals adaptation. Then the body repairs those fibers stronger than before. Stress, recovery, adaptation. That's the cycle. Without the stress, there's no stimulus. But remove the recovery and there's no growth. There's only breakdown. Now, let's apply this to cognitive work. Corporate culture often treats stress as something to eliminate. That is impossible. Decision making is stress. Leadership is stress. Deadlines are stress. Pressure is not the problem. The problem is when the system never resets. We have back-to-back meetings, constant interruptions, late night calls, then straight back into work the next morning at 8 a.m. That's not stress plus recovery. That's stress accumulation. And accumulation eventually becomes fatigue. So what does stress do to the brain? When you face a demanding task, your brain activates the stress response. The hypothalamus signals the adrenal glands. Cortisol rises, adrenaline increases. Your nervous system shifts into alert mode. This is not bad. In fact, it's essential. Moderate stress actually improves focus, reaction speed, attention, and memory encoding. This is called EURES, and it's the beneficial stress. It sharpens you, but the brain cannot remain in that state indefinitely. Without recovery, cortisol remains elevated, decision fatigue increases, emotional regulation declines, working memory becomes overloaded, and eventually the brain begins to protect itself by slowing down. That's what many people call burnout, but physiologically, it's prolonged stress without recovery. There's a really fascinating study from Microsoft Human Factors Lab, and researchers measured brain activity during back-to-back meetings. I've mentioned this before. What they found, it was amazing. When people moved directly from one meeting to the next without a break, the stress markers in the brain steadily increased. But when they inserted a short recovery break between the meetings, something between 5 and 10 minutes, those stress markers dropped significantly. In other words, the brain resets really quickly if you allow it to do so. It's really important to focus on those transitional points. Let's bring this back to elite athletes. They train incredibly hard, but they don't train all the time. Training sessions can be very intense, but they are separated by recovery. Things like sleep, mobility, nutrition, active recovery. Why do they do that? Because the body adapts during recovery, not during the stress itself. The same principle applies to cognitive performance. Your brain needs oscillation. Stress, reset. Stress, reset. Without that rhythm, performance degrades. Now think about the typical work day. You start at 8:30, meetings begin, emails bing and arrive, problems land on your lap. By lunchtime, you've made dozens of decisions. By mid-afternoon, your brain is still functioning, but it's not optimal. Then by 10 p.m, there's a global call, high-stakes discussion, you're talking about strategy, making judgments, navigating conflict. And biologically, that is the worst possible moment for elite decision making. Your nervous system has been under load for 14 hours, but we pretend that that's normal. Then we wonder why our leaders are constantly feeling depleted. And here's the recovery paradox. Many high performers believe recovery is wasted time. A walk, a pause, a short break. They see that as lost productivity. But biologically, it's the opposite. Recovery protects performance. Without it, stress compounds and accumulates. With it, the system rests. Recovery is not the absence of work. It's the maintenance of performance that really counts. Okay, great work, Clint. Now let's think about this in week 7. This week, we focus on recovery skills. And I have 3 simple actions for you to take away and to implement right away. Number 1, I want you to install micro recovery breaks. These need to be between intense periods of work. Take 5 to 10 minutes, stand up, have a walk, even go outside, drink some water, look away from your screens. This actually allows the nervous system to reset. It lowers your stress markers and restores cognitive clarity. Think of it as a cool down between training sets. Number 2, I want you to protect those transition moments. So transition moments, they are really powerful recovery points. They are between major meetings, after maybe a difficult conversation, between heavy tasks. Instead of rushing straight into the next demand, take 1 minute. Breathe slowly, reset your posture, clear your head. Even brief resets improve decision quality. And finally, number 3, install an end of day shutdown. Before finishing work, you need to close the loop. Ask yourself these questions. What did I complete today? What matters tomorrow? And what can wait? This simple reflection reduces cognitive rumination and it actually improves your sleep quality. Sleep is the most powerful recovery tool that you have. What are you going to notice? When recovery improves, 3 things will happen. You think more clearly, you react less emotionally, and you recover faster after demanding days. That's resilience in action. It's not toughness. Resilience is recovery speed. Okay, so week 1, we've stabilized pace. Week 2, we've protected your energy. Week 3, we've designed your structure. Week 4, we've rebuilt focus. Week 5, aligned your biology. Week 6, we've built cognitive capacity. And this week, we've installed recovery. Next week, we move into something critical for high performers. Decision fatigue. Because the quality of your decisions determine the quality of your leadership. And most people are making their biggest decisions when their brain is at its weakest. We'll fix that next. If this episode resonated with you, hit follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes recovery is laziness. Guess what it isn't? It's how performance systems stay strong. You can head over to the website cognitiveathlete.com.au, grab a copy of the book, download all of the resources that you can. And remember, stress builds the signal, recovery builds the strength. I'll see you next time.